When I think about the recent strides I've made in the journey of my life, from reaching a lifelong goal of losing weight to traveling parts of America and Europe by myself, reading 15 to 20 books a year, people often ask me, what can I attest this to? And there's one simple answer: books. So here are a few bullet points or a few reasons that reading is so important and why you should read or implement reading or add reading to your routine and make it prioritize, I guess. The best reason is going to be at the end, so make sure you watch this video and make sure you subscribe. First reason, which is really important, and I haven't really heard people talking about this, it makes you present. In this day and age where our concentration is sliced up like a pizza and it's so hard to actually get moments of focus, reading is even more important. When you read, you can't be watching TV, you can't be on your phone, you can't be immersed in conversation. You can only be reading, you can only be engaged with the words on the page. Your mind can't be wandering. But if your mind drifts, you notice, okay, I'm not actually reading. When I read, it's meditational for me, it's therapeutic for me, it's a relaxation exercise. It makes you present. That's one of my favorite things about reading that I don't often hear. It is good for your brain. It's healthy. There are many scientific studies that go to show the benefits of reading. It increases your focus, it increases your memory, it increases your concentration. There are endless benefits of reading, neurological benefits. I've noticed that as I started to read now, my memory is actually getting better. Not just because I read a book on actually how to be better at memorizing things, but also just a byproduct of reading is improved memory. My focus is better. I notice when I stop reading, my temperament actually diminishes. My patience diminishes. You need to exercise your brain. You don't just exercise your body. You don't just exercise your physical elements. This is actually the most powerful thing we have, our minds and our brain. It teaches you, it teaches you, it teaches you. The educational system is probably one of the things in this world that disappoints me more than anything else, because it's such a powerful institution and yet it squanders its potential, teaching us the wrong things or not teaching us things we need to know at all. There are so many things in life that are pivotal to our success, to our well-being, to our fulfillment, to our contentment. Emotional intelligence, psychological awareness, self-awareness, practical things, how to manage money, how to find your purpose, how to know what you're good at, how to know what field you should go into. People leave these things to chance when you could just learn from people who've experienced it. When I'm looking for a book to get or the next book to read, I just look, what in my life do I want to learn about now? What in my life would I need to improve on right now? These are things that you will never learn unless you read a book about it or go and seek that information. Reading is just one of those things that you have to accept that it makes you better. You can make an excuse and say, oh, I don't like books or I don't have the time. Okay, fair enough. You're going to miss out on a lot of pivotal information. That's your problem you're going to have to face. And if you really don't have time to read, get an audiobook. One of my friends, this is one of my favorite things about him. He's dyslexic, but he still reads more than people I know that don't have any learning disabilities, because he's hungry for that information and he knows how important it is to learn and to read. One of my favorite things about books for me is that it awakens you. All those examples of books I showed you that I read. Can you imagine if I didn't read certain books? I wouldn't even be here talking to you. I wouldn't even have a channel. I may have a channel, but it may be further down the line. I may have gotten fit, but it may have been further down the line. I may have traveled, but it may have been further down the line. I may have learned how to manage my money and to start investing, but it may have been further down the line. And as much as I want to say we learn things when we learn things and there's no such thing as regrets, but time is a finite resource. If I learn to invest at 20, it's way different than if I learned to invest at 40, because that time that you didn't know those things, that's actually time that money could have been accumulating and compounding. And that's just a cool analogy for reading in general. Money is something practical, but this can be anything in your life. This could be pursuing your purpose. This could be getting fit. This could be finding yourself. This could be traveling. Certain things can be a spark in your brain. Okay, you read a line and then you start thinking, okay, how can I apply this to my life? And just like that, it begins to awaken things in you. Books are so underrated, honestly. It really all depends on how receptive you are and how open-minded you are to take in the information. I'm very hungry to find ways that I can improve. I'm very hungry to find ways that I can get better in the things I love to do. Forget about self-help books. They are life books, because you need these things for life. The Psychology of Money. Like, this book showed me the way we spend money is actually a lot deeper than we think. Like, people think ideas are spontaneous, and they can be, but there's actually a lot going underneath the surface that's happening that leads to ideas. This book, Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman, a great book on how to interact in certain situations, how to be self-aware. School has really fooled us into thinking that there's only one type of intelligence. Don't be put off by the books that I'm showing you. Some people may be more inclined to read life books, and some people may not like them, although So read them anyways because they will help you. How I decide on what book I read next is literally by looking at my life and this current situations. I don't buy books for 5 years down the line. I don't buy books for 2 weeks down the line. I buy books for what I need to know now in my life, according to what I want to do or what I want to learn now that I can implement. So it's a cheat code in many ways, you know. It helps you finish the book because you want to learn the information to apply it now. And it helps you buy the book because you want to know it now. And it helps you practice the stuff because you need to practice it now. It's cool to implement those cheat codes in your life to do things that are beneficial to yourself. So some tips that I wish I knew when I started reading that I learned gradually as I began to read. Be intentional about reading. Don't leave it up to chance. Schedule a time in the day when you're more likely to read. And if you want to read a certain amount of book, I will look at the amount of pages in the book and say, okay, if I want to finish this book in a certain amount of days, I need to read a certain amount of pages every day to finish this book. That really helped me. That made me stay on track in terms of finishing books. And that's how I managed to read 15 to 20 books in the first year of me starting to read again, which may not be that high for some people, but I know it's higher than average, according to some studies, not just according to my ego. Read the best books first, and that's advice I've seen multiple times. First 3 books I read when I started reading again were Ego is the Enemy, Atomic Habits, and The Power of Now. Up till now, those are probably still the 3 best books I ever read. Don't be afraid to put down a bad book. I would tell myself, don't pick up a new book until you finish the book you're currently reading. Don't fall into that trap. If a book is bad and you're finding it hard and it's slowing you down from going to the next book, put the book down. Bad books exist. That's one thing I've learned. Just because something is a book doesn't mean it's always good. Give it a chance if it sounds good, but sometimes they can just be too drawn out and they can be too congested with irrelevant information. So don't be afraid to put down a bad book. Reread your favorite books. I think I've read Ego is the Enemy 3 to 4 times since then. Atomic Habits, I've read the same amount. Like, that's why I read 20 books. I've seen videos on YouTube being like, I read 100 books in a week, or I read 100 books in a day, or whatever. Like, that's all ego nonsense. Read a certain amount of books where you retain the information. You should read few things many times so you really get the information and it really marinates in your mind. So there we go. Reading is so impactful. Don't think you have to be a bookworm, or don't think you have to be a nerd or an academic to read. I'm an artist, but I'm also a reader. I love reading, and it's so important. Not all leaders are readers, but all leaders read. You may think that's not applicable to you because you may not be a leader. Not everyone wants to be a leader, but everyone leads your own lives. So if you want to lead your life and not let situations in life sway you, you have to read so you can lead your own life. You can be in control, so you can know yourself, so you can be self-aware, so you can know how to deal with certain things that are surface level. There's a reason for everything. I began to see, okay, I feel this because I do this, or I don't have this because I'm not doing this. Reading is the reason why I'm able to now identify those things in my life. They've really changed me as a person. People can actually grow and stay the same. Read, make sure you change, make sure you grow as a person, learn new things to help your life. They've helped my life. Books made me fit, books made me happy, more fulfilled, clarity. Thank you for watching this video. I hope at least you took one thing from this video. Order that book today. Thank you. Like and subscribe to the video. Share it to your family members. Share it to somebody who you think should start reading. Like and subscribe. Watch the next video. And bless up. Yeah, we be reading. Reading to change your life. New trend.